They tell you the world is cruel, that people are unfair. But no one tells you this. The greatest enemy wears your face. Every hesitation, every excuse, every emotional outburst quietly ruins your future. Thomas Shelby never chased motivation. He mastered control. While others begged for confidence, he built discipline in silence. If you cannot command your own mind, you will always kneel before circumstances. This is not a speech to inspire you. This is a warning. Either you master yourself, slowly and painfully, or life will do it for you without mercy. No apologies. No shortcuts. No second chances. You want control, but you keep negotiating with your weaknesses. Stop. The first enemy you must defeat is not outside you. It's inside you, breathing, whispering, delaying. Every time you say, tomorrow, it wins. Every time you react instead of decide, it wins. You don't lack potential. You lack command. Look at your habits. They are not random. They are loyalties. You are loyal to comfort, loyal to distraction, loyal to excuses that protect your ego. If you want mastery, you don't motivate yourself. You interrogate yourself. You ask hard questions and you don't accept emotional answers. Feelings don't run operations. Decisions do. You say you want discipline, but you still listen to moods. Moods are traitors. They show up late and leave early. If your actions depend on how you feel, you will always be owned by circumstances. Mastery begins the moment you stop asking, do I feel like it, and start saying, it will be done. You think fear is something to remove. Wrong. Fear is a signal. It tells you where your edge is. The mistake you make is obeying it. Fear should sit in the room while you work, not at the head of the table making decisions. When fear speaks, you acknowledge it, then you move anyway. That's control. Understand this clearly. Self-sabotage feels intelligent. It sounds like logic. It says you need more time, more information, more confidence. That voice is not protecting you. It's keeping you small. You don't need permission to act. You need resolve. You waste energy explaining yourself to people who don't matter. Stop talking. Start building. Silence is not weakness. Silence is preparation. When you move quietly, your focus sharpens. When you announce plans, your discipline leaks away. Keep your mouth closed and your standards high. You want confidence? Earn it. Confidence is the residue of kept promises to yourself. Every broken promise teaches your mind that your word is worthless. Every kept promise rebuilds authority inside you. Start small, but be absolute. If you say you'll do something, do it, even when it's inconvenient. Especially when it's inconvenient. Your impulses are not your personality. They are reactions trained by repetition. Retrain them. Delay pleasure. Cut off easy dopamine. Make boredom your training ground. If you can sit with discomfort without escaping, you become dangerous. Most people can't. That's why they stay predictable. You don't need a new identity. You need alignment. Decide who you are when no one is watching, then behave accordingly. Consistency is power. Chaos is weakness disguised as freedom. Structure gives you leverage. Routine gives you reach. Stop blaming your past. The past explains you. It does not excuse you. You are responsible for the man you are becoming. No one is coming to rescue you from yourself. That responsibility is heavy, but it's also freedom. When it's your fault, it's also your move. Control your inputs, what you watch, what you listen to, who you tolerate. Your environment trains you faster than motivation ever will. If you keep feeding your mind noise, don't complain about confusion. Cut the noise. Choose precision. This is where mastery starts, not with big speeches. With small, ruthless corrections. You remove one weakness at a time. You don't rush. You don't boast. You don't quit. You take command, quietly, daily, without witnesses. Do that long enough and the world won't recognize you anymore. It will only feel the difference. And remember this, mastery is lonely by design. When you stop reacting, people will feel uncomfortable. When you stop explaining, they will project. Let them. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be effective. Measure your days by execution, not applause. If today you controlled one impulse, kept one promise, and moved despite resistance, you advanced. Stack those days. Authority will grow inside you before anyone sees it outside. Control first. Respect follows. Always. Without exception. You think emotions make you human. They do. But when emotions control you, they make you predictable. And predictability is weakness. Right now, your reactions tell people everything about you, what hurts you, what angers you, what controls you. That has to stop. You don't need to kill your emotions. You need to put them in their place. Emotions are information, not instructions. Anger, sadness, frustration. These are signals. They report a situation. They do not decide your response. The moment you let them decide, you lose authority over yourself. Watch yourself closely. When someone disrespects you, you react. When plans fail, you complain. When things don't go your way, your face changes, your tone changes, your energy leaks. That leak is power leaving your body. Silence plugs that leak. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. Loudness is compensation. Calm is confidence that doesn't need witnesses. When you stay quiet while emotions rise, you take control of the room without saying a word. People don't know what you're thinking, and that unsettles them. Good. Uncertainty shifts power. You don't explain your emotions. You don't justify them. The need to explain is the need to be understood. And the need to be understood is weakness disguised as honesty. You don't owe anyone access to your inner world. Protect it. Anger is the one emotion you must master first. Not because it's bad, but because it's powerful. Uncontrolled anger burns bridges. Controlled anger forges discipline. When anger hits, slow down. Lower your voice. Reduce movement. Let others expose themselves while you observe. The man who stays calm while others lose control always wins in the long run. Stop reacting immediately. Delay your response. That pause is everything. In that pause, you decide instead of explode. In that pause, you move from emotional to strategic. Train yourself to wait. A few seconds of silence can undo years of damage. You think showing emotion makes you authentic. Wrong. It makes you readable. Readable men are easy to manipulate. If people know what pushes your buttons, they can push you wherever they want. Emotional silence is armor. Wear it. This doesn't mean becoming cold or empty. It means becoming selective. You choose when and where emotion is expressed. You don't give it away for free. You don't hand it to people who haven't earned trust. Control is not suppression. Control is permission. Look at how often you overreact to small things. That's a sign your inner system is undisciplined. Big men are not moved by small events. If every inconvenience shakes you, you are not in control. You are exposed. Strength is measured by how little disturbs you. You don't argue emotionally. You don't defend impulsively. You don't chase validation. Silence forces others to fill the gap. They talk more. They reveal more. You learn. Information is power. Silence collects it. Practice this daily. When something triggers you, do nothing at first. Breathe. Observe your body. Feel the emotion without acting on it. Let it pass. You will realize something important. Emotions rise, peak, and fall, whether you react or not. Once you see that, they lose their grip on you. People will test you. They will provoke you. They will mistake your silence for weakness. Let them. Every test is training. Every moment you don't react, you sharpen control. Over time, your presence will change. Less noise, more weight. This is the rule. Never let emotions negotiate your behavior. You decide. Always. When you master emotional silence, you stop being ruled by the moment. You start ruling yourself. And once that happens, nothing external can truly shake you. You say you want freedom, but you avoid discipline like it's punishment. That's your first mistake. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is leverage. Without it, every plan you make collapses the moment discomfort shows up. And discomfort always shows up. Stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is a lie. People tell themselves to delay action. You don't rise when you feel motivated. You rise when the schedule says so. Discipline means you move even when your mind argues against it. Especially then, look at your routine, or the lack of it. Chaos feels exciting at first, but it drains you. Structure gives you power because it removes decision fatigue. When you decide once and execute daily, your energy stops leaking into unnecessary choices. You don't negotiate with yourself every morning. You already decided who you are. You want consistency? Remove mercy from the equation. Mercy is what you give to weakness. Discipline is what you give to your future. When you skip work because you're tired, you're not being kind. You're stealing from the man you're supposed to become. Understand this. Discipline is built on rules, not feelings. Set rules that are non-negotiable. Wake up time, work hours, training, learning. When rules exist, excuses die. You don't argue with rules. You follow them. You think discipline means doing big things. Wrong. Discipline is boring by design. It's repetition without applause. It's showing up when no one is watching. Most people fail, not because they can't do hard things, but because they can't do small things consistently. Comfort is your biggest enemy. Comfort numbs ambition. The more comfortable you get, the weaker your edge becomes. That's why you must deliberately choose discomfort. Cold mornings, hard conversations, focused work without distraction. Comfort should feel suspicious to you. Stop romanticizing rest. Rest is earned, not owed. You rest to recover, not to escape. If you rest before you're exhausted, you're training laziness. Discipline teaches your body and mind that work comes first, relief comes later. You don't need balance, you need order. Balance is for people who have already built something. In the building phase, discipline must dominate. You can't negotiate with chaos and expect control. Track your actions, not your intentions. Intentions don't matter, output does. If you didn't do the work, you didn't progress. Be brutally honest with yourself. No stories, no excuses. Facts only. When you fail, and you will, you don't quit. You correct. Missing once is a mistake. Missing twice is a pattern. Patterns define character. Break bad patterns early, before they become identity. Train when you don't want to. That's where discipline is forged. Anyone can work when it feels good. Few can work when it feels heavy. That difference separates leaders from followers. Remove distractions aggressively. Phone, noise, people who drain focus. Discipline is not just about doing more, it's about eliminating what weakens you. Every distraction you tolerate is a vote against your future. You don't announce discipline. You don't seek praise for it. Discipline is silent. The results will speak later. Let others talk about motivation. You build systems that don't care how you feel. There will be days when everything in you resists. On those days, simplify. Show up. Do the minimum required to maintain momentum. Discipline is not perfection. It's continuity. It's continuity. Remember this rule. If it's important, it gets scheduled. If it's not scheduled, it's a lie you tell yourself. Treat your goals like appointments you cannot miss. Discipline without mercy doesn't mean cruelty. It means clarity. You know what must be done, and you do it. No drama, no debate. Over time, discipline becomes identity. You stop forcing yourself. You become the kind of person who acts. And when that happens, you no longer chase confidence. Confidence follows discipline like a shadow. Quiet. Certain. Unavoidable. You keep asking what to do. That's the wrong question. Actions don't change you first. Identity does. Until you decide who you are, your behavior will stay inconsistent. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your self-image. Right now, you act according to the story you tell yourself. If the story says you're undisciplined, you'll behave that way. If the story says you hesitate, you will hesitate. Your actions are loyal to your identity, not your intentions. Stop trying to fix habits in isolation. Habits are symptoms. Identity is the root. Change the root, and behavior follows naturally. Ask yourself this directly. Who are you when no one is watching? Not who you want to be seen as, but who you actually are in private. That answer controls everything. You don't wait for confidence to appear. Confidence is a byproduct of alignment. When your actions match your identity, confidence becomes unavoidable. When they don't, you feel friction, doubt, and resistance. That friction is not a sign to stop. It's a sign you're acting out of character. Decide your standards. Standards are identity in action. What you tolerate defines who you are, more than what you claim. If you tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or laziness from yourself or others, you are voting for a weaker identity. They want a new life without a new identity. They want outcomes without changing how they see themselves. That never works. You must become the kind of person for whom the outcome is normal. Stop borrowing identities from motivation videos, quotes, or other people's success. That's costume, not character. Identity is built through repeated proof. You don't say, "I am disciplined." You behave in a disciplined way until your mind accepts it as fact. Your language matters. How you speak to yourself programs you. If you say, "I'm trying," you give yourself an exit. If you say, "I don't do that," you set a boundary. Boundaries are identity markers. They simplify decisions. Act as if your future self is watching you, not judging, observing. Every decision is a vote. One vote doesn't define you. Patterns do. Stack enough votes and identity locks in. You don't need to announce your identity. You enforce it through behavior. Quiet consistency changes how you see yourself faster than loud declarations ever will. When you keep your word to yourself repeatedly, self-respect grows. And self-respect is the foundation of authority. Drop the victim identity. It's comfortable, but it's expensive. It costs you agency. Responsibility is heavier, but it gives you control. When you accept full responsibility for who you're becoming, excuses disappear. You will feel resistance when you act against your old identity. That discomfort is proof of change. Don't retreat from it. Lean in. Identity transformation is not smooth. It's confrontational. You are challenging an internal hierarchy that has ruled you for years. Choose one defining identity and build from there. Not 10. 1. Disciplined, reliable, dangerous, focused. Choose, then behave accordingly in small ways daily. Identity grows through precision, not overload. Your environment must match your identity. If you want to be focused, remove chaos. If you want to be disciplined, remove temptation. Identity cannot survive in hostile environments. Design your surroundings to support who you are becoming. Stop asking, "What should I do today?" Start asking, "What would a man like me do in this situation?" It turns decisions into alignment checks. Identity before action is the rule. When you decide who you are, Actions stop feeling forced. They become natural. You don't rely on willpower. You rely on character. And once identity is set, behavior follows like a shadow. Quiet, consistent, unbreakable. You think every thought in your head deserves attention. It doesn't. Most of your thoughts are noise, untrained, emotional, repetitive. If you follow them blindly, they will run you into confusion. Control begins when you stop believing everything you think. Your mind is a room full of voices. Some are useful, most are not. The mistake you make is letting them all speak freely. That creates chaos. You don't silence the mind by force. You manage it by authority. You decide which thoughts stay and which get removed. Start observing your thoughts instead of identifying with them. The moment you say, "This is just a thought," you create distance. Distance gives you leverage. Without distance, every negative idea feels like truth. With distance, it becomes a suggestion you can reject. Overthinking is not intelligence. It's fear dressed as analysis. You replay scenarios, imagine outcomes, and call it preparation. It's not. It's avoidance. Real thinking leads to decisions. Overthinking leads to delay. If a thought doesn't move you to action, it's wasting your time. Interrogate your thoughts like suspects. Ask them questions. Is this true? Is this useful? Does this move me forward? If a thought fails the test, it doesn't get to stay. You don't argue with it. You dismiss it. Your mind has been trained by repetition. If you constantly consume negativity, drama, and distraction, your thoughts will mirror that chaos. Control your input if you want control over output. What you watch, read, and listen to becomes your internal dialogue. Stop rehearsing failure. Every time you imagine something going wrong, you're practicing defeat. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and experience. Train it with intention. Visualize execution, not disaster. You don't fight thoughts emotionally. Emotion gives them power. You respond logically and briefly. Long internal debates weaken authority. Short commands strengthen it. Not useful, irrelevant, later. Focus is a skill, not a personality trait. Train it by doing one thing at a time. Multitasking fractures attention. Fractured attention weakens control. When you focus fully, even for short periods, your mind learns discipline. Negative self-talk is self-betrayal. If someone else spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, you would remove them from your life. Do the same internally. Set rules for internal dialogue. Respect is non-negotiable. You don't chase positive thinking, you chase accurate thinking. Positive lies collapse under pressure. Accurate thoughts hold. When you assess reality clearly without drama, you can move effectively. Your mind will test you when you try to control it. Thoughts will become louder at first. That's resistance. Don't retreat. Stay consistent. Authority is established through repetition. Set thinking windows. Time to plan. Time to reflect. Outside those windows, you execute. This prevents rumination from bleeding into action time. Thinking has a place. It just doesn't run the operation. You don't need to eliminate fear-based thoughts. You need to deprive them of influence. Let them exist without obeying them. Over time, they lose strength. Every decision you make despite doubt trains your mind to trust you. When your mind sees you act consistently, it quiets down. Mastering your thoughts is not about peace. It's about command. Calm comes later. First comes control. When you control your thoughts, you control your focus. When you control your focus, you control your actions. And when you control your actions, outcomes follow naturally. Quietly, relentlessly, without chaos. You think being alone means something is wrong with you. It doesn't. It means you've stopped numbing yourself with noise. Isolation is not punishment, it's a training ground. And most people avoid it because they can't stand being confronted by their own thoughts. When you're always surrounded by people, opinions, and distractions, you never hear yourself clearly. Noise feels safe because it hides weakness. Silence exposes it. That's why isolation feels uncomfortable at first. Stay there. That discomfort is information. Understand this. Solitude and loneliness are not the same. Loneliness is wanting approval. Solitude is choosing focus. One drains you. The other sharpens you. If you can't be alone without reaching for distraction, you're not in control yet. Isolation removes performance. When no one is watching, you stop pretending. You see your discipline, your honesty, your limits, without filters. You can't lie to yourself in silence. Stop fearing missing out. Most of what you're missing is irrelevant. Noise, drama, validation loops. Isolation protects your energy. Energy is finite. Spend it on building, not on being seen. Use isolation strategically. This isn't about cutting everyone off forever. It's about pulling back long enough to build strength. Warriors don't live on the battlefield. They train in private. In isolation, your weaknesses get loud. Doubt, impatience, restlessness. That's good. Those are the areas that need control. If you escape every time discomfort rises, you never grow. Sit with it, let it burn. It forges resilience. You don't isolate to feel better. You isolate to get better. Growth is not comfortable. Comfort keeps you average. Isolation removes crutches. Stop outsourcing your sense of worth. When you constantly seek feedback, likes, and reassurance, you give your power away. Isolation teaches self-validation. When you approve of yourself internally, external approval loses its grip. Isolation sharpens clarity. You start to see what matters and what doesn't. Your goals simplify. Your priorities harden. Confusion fades when noise is removed. You don't explain your isolation to anyone. Explanation invites interference. Let people misunderstand. Distance will reveal who respects your boundaries and who feeds on your attention. Train yourself to enjoy your own company. Read, write, write. Plan, train, train. Think, execute. When you are comfortable alone, you become dangerous in groups. You're not dependent. You're deliberate. Isolation also exposes your discipline. No one forces you to work. No one watches you quit. That's the test. If you can stay consistent in isolation, you build real power. Use isolation to reprogram. New habits stick faster when external influence is reduced. Your mind becomes more receptive. Take advantage of that window. Don't confuse isolation with hiding. You're not running from the world. You're preparing to re-enter it stronger. Isolation is temporary. Power is permanent. Most people seek connection to escape themselves. You seek isolation to master yourself. That difference changes everything. When you return from isolation, your presence will be heavier. You won't need to speak as much. You'll see more, react less. People will feel it without understanding why. Isolation forges power because it removes distraction, strips ego, and forces responsibility. If you can stand alone without collapsing, you can stand anywhere without fear. Choose isolation intentionally. Use it well. And remember, power is never built in crowds. You think discipline is enough. It isn't. Discipline fails when temptation whispers louder than your commitment. Pleasure is a test. Desire is a battlefield. Every indulgence you surrender to chips away at your authority. If you can't control yourself, no one else will respect your control. Stop kidding yourself. That momentary satisfaction is a betrayal of the man you're supposed to be. You don't negotiate with temptation. You dominate it. Notice how often you chase comfort. Food, social media, validation, convenience. They're all traps. They feel harmless, even necessary. They're not. They drain focus, reduce endurance, and weaken decision-making. The stronger your desire to indulge, the clearer the signal. This is where your control is tested. You don't fight temptation with willpower alone. Willpower is temporary. Environment, routine, and strategy are permanent. Remove access. Change the setup. Make indulgence difficult, not inevitable. When your surroundings enforce restraint, self-control becomes effortless. Delay is your weapon. Every temptation obeys time. Delay, pleasure. Delay, distraction. Watch desire peak and fade while you remain unmoved. That is mastery. Few people ever experience the satisfaction of desire without surrender. You will, because you train for it. Temptation also exposes hidden weaknesses. Lust, anger, greed, laziness. They reveal which parts of you are ungoverned. Acknowledge them without indulgence. Action is, you resist, redirect, and execute. That's how control becomes permanent. Small wins matter more than grand gestures. Every micro decision to resist, skipping a bad habit, holding focus, staying silent instead of reacting, is a deposit in your internal bank of authority. Miss 1, correct it. Miss 2, change the pattern. Consistency compounds faster than motivation ever could. Pleasure is addictive, you know it. That's why you must treat it like currency, not entitlement. Spend wisely. Earn reward through effort. Don't take what comes cheap. Cheap victories produce weak men. Expensive victories build unshakable confidence. You cannot outsource self-control. Others cannot monitor you. Authority over your impulses exists only internally. You decide when to give in, when to resist, when to act. That internal command is non-negotiable. Weak men abdicate it. Strong men enforce it. Every notification, every distraction, every shiny object pulls focus away from the mission. You train attention like muscle. 1 hour of focused work without surrender is stronger than a day of half effort. Protect your mind fiercely. You will fail sometimes. Don't panic. Failure is only dangerous if you accept it as identity. Analyze, correct, resume. The man who resists consistently in spite of setbacks is the man who becomes unstoppable. Do not confuse pleasure with purpose. They are rarely aligned. Purpose is delayed gratification, strategy, and hard work. Pleasure is immediate, fleeting, and often destructive. Mastering self-control is aligning action with purpose, not indulgence. Temptation is relentless. It never stops testing. Your strength is proven by repetition. Every time you resist, authority grows. Every time you give in, authority erodes. Keep the tally in your mind. Let it sharpen resolve. Self-control is not punishment. It is power. It is freedom. When you can sit with desire, discomfort, and distraction without surrendering, you become untouchable. You act when others hesitate. You plan when others react. You win when others lose themselves. Remember this. The man who cannot control himself is a tool in the hands of circumstances. The man who masters temptation commands life. Your choice is in private, silent, deliberate, relentless. Define the force you bring into the world. Be that man. No exceptions, no mercy. You think discipline alone is enough. It isn't. Discipline is useless when temptation whispers louder than your purpose. Every desire you give in to comfort, distraction, pleasure is a step backward. If you can't control yourself, no one else will respect your authority. You must dominate your impulses, not negotiate with them. Look at your patterns. Every time you give in, you teach your mind that impulses outrank purpose, that momentary satisfaction costs power. Stop rationalizing indulgence. Stop thinking you deserve it. Control comes before reward. Willpower alone won't win this war. Willpower is temporary. Environment is permanent. Temptation succeeds when you leave it within reach. Remove access. Make indulgence difficult. Arrange your world so restraint is automatic, not forced. When your surroundings enforce discipline, your mind obeys without struggle. Delay is your greatest weapon. Every impulse peaks and fades. Let desire rise, then watch it pass while you remain unmoved. Few people experience the satisfaction of resisting. That is strength. That is mastery. You train for this. You sit in discomfort while others run. Temptation exposes hidden weaknesses, laziness, greed, lust, anger. Don't ignore them. Acknowledge them without giving in. Awareness alone is not enough. Action is. Resist, redirect, execute. That's how control becomes permanent. Every micro decision matters more than grand gestures. Each small victory is a deposit in your authority. Pleasure is addictive. Treat it like currency, not entitlement. Spend wisely. Earn it. Cheap victories create weak men. Expensive victories forge unshakable confidence. You measure reward by effort, not desire. The man who sacrifices instant comfort for long-term gain becomes untouchable. Self-control cannot be outsourced. No one else can monitor you. Authority over your impulses exists only internally. Decide firmly when to act, when to resist, when to wait. Weak men abdicate this responsibility. Strong men enforce it relentlessly. Attention is the battlefield. Every notification, every distraction, every moment of indulgence steals focus from your mission. Protect your mind fiercely. 1 hour of concentrated effort without surrender is stronger than a day of scattered, distracted work. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. You will fail. Don't panic. Failure is dangerous only if you let it define you. Analyze, correct, resume. The man who persists in self-control despite setbacks becomes unstoppable. Weak men stop after one failure. Strong men learn. Strong men adapt. Strong men enforce the rules internally. Pleasure and purpose rarely align. Purpose is long-term, strategic, and often uncomfortable. Pleasure is fleeting, seductive, and often destructive. Mastery means aligning your actions with purpose, not giving in to impulses. You act according to long-term vision, not short-term craving. Temptation never stops testing you. Strength is proven through repetition. Every resisted impulse strengthens authority. Every surrendered impulse erodes it. Keep the tally in your mind. Let it sharpen your resolve. Let it remind you why control matters more than indulgence. Self-control is not punishment. It is power. It is freedom. When you can sit with desire, discomfort, and distraction without yielding, you become untouchable. You act when others hesitate. You plan when others react. You win when others give in. Remember this: a man who cannot control himself is a tool in the hands of circumstances. A man who masters temptation commands life. Your silent, deliberate choices define the force you bring into the world. Be that man. No exceptions. No mercy. You want respect from others, but you ignore the one person who must respect you first: yourself. Reputation is a reflection of internal authority. Without self-respect, the world will sense weakness and act accordingly. You don't control perception by words, you control it by how you carry yourself when no one is watching. Stop compromising for approval. Every time you lower your standards, you teach the world how to treat you. Boundaries are not optional. They are the framework of self-respect. If you cannot enforce them, no one else will. Weak men negotiate their limits. Strong men enforce them silently and consistently. Your presence matters more than your explanations. Speak less, act more. The man who needs to justify himself is already losing. Presence is heavy. Presence communicates authority without uttering a word. People sense it. They respect it or fear it. That's enough. You don't need validation. Integrity is non-negotiable. Keep your promises to yourself first. If you cannot honor your commitments privately, public recognition is meaningless. Reputation without internal authority is hollow. When you maintain consistency in private, your external authority becomes undeniable. Small actions, repeated, compound into character that cannot be ignored. Stop chasing popularity. Influence comes from earned respect, not borrowed attention. Loud men demand notice, quiet men command it. Reputation is built through deeds, not announcements. You don't tell people how to respect you, you show them. Discipline and self-respect are inseparable. When you show up regardless of mood, desire, or circumstance, people notice. They sense someone who cannot be swayed by fleeting pressures. That is the foundation of authority. If you bend for every situation, your reputation bends with you. Don't allow anyone to define your worth. Others project limitations, insecurities, and biases onto you. When you lack self-respect, you absorb those projections as truth. When you have it, their opinions bounce off. You define your value internally, and the world adjusts. Learn to say no without hesitation. Saying no is not rejection. It is assertion. Every no reinforces your boundaries, your standards, your identity. People test limits constantly. The ones who respect you respond to firmness without argument. Those who push are filtered out. That's efficiency in building reputation. You cannot fake self-respect. Pretending to be disciplined, confident, or principled only works temporarily. True self-respect is cultivated through repeated action. Do the work others avoid, keep commitments others break. Face discomfort without excuses. That is visible. That is real. That builds authority. Appearance, posture, and demeanor matter because they reflect internal respect. Walk as if you own the room, even when you do not. Speak only when necessary. Observe constantly. Control your energy. People read your signals faster than your words. Your internal authority manifests in these details. Remember, reputation is not created in crowds, applause, or social validation. It is forged in solitude, in the choices you make when no one is watching. When self-respect is non-negotiable, respect from others is inevitable. You do not ask for it, you command it. Respect is not given lightly, it is earned quietly, relentlessly, without shortcuts. Protect your standards, enforce your rules. Guard your integrity. Every action that honors yourself strengthens your presence in the world. Weak men wait for recognition. Strong men build it silently. Self-respect is your invisible armor. Reputation is the shadow it casts. Strengthen one, and the other follows naturally. When you internalize this, you stop worrying about what others think. You stop performing. You start existing as someone impossible to ignore. That is authority. That is power. That is legacy. You think power is loud. It isn't. Loudness is attention-seeking. Loudness is weakness. True danger is quiet, controlled, and deliberate. People notice it, but they cannot define it. That's why it works. That's why it commands. Stop proving yourself to anyone. Showing off strength only exposes insecurity. When you constantly need validation, you surrender authority. Dangerous men do not announce their capability. They display it through results, presence, and timing. Silence amplifies power. Words diminish it. Observation is your greatest weapon. Listen more than you speak. Watch more than you act. The moment you stop reacting to every stimulus, you gain information. Knowledge is leverage. When others reveal their intentions, you decide your move. That is danger. Predictability is your enemy. The loud are obvious, their patterns exposed. Unpredictable men are feared because they cannot be calculated. Be deliberate in speech, action, and emotion. Move only when it serves your purpose. Hesitation and reaction belong to those without control. Your reputation grows through restraint. People will misinterpret silence as weakness. Let them. They will act carelessly. You will respond strategically. Patience is more powerful than immediate action. The man who strikes last strikes hardest. You don't need approval or admiration. Dangerous men create consequences. Your presence alone shifts the energy of a room. People sense it instinctively. Fear, respect, curiosity. These are byproducts of self-control. You don't manufacture them. You exist in a way that naturally produces them. Avoid noise. Avoid over-explaining. Avoid overacting. Words without purpose dilute authority. Energy misused is power wasted. Speak less. Observe more. Act with precision. Each measured move signals control. Each unnecessary move signals weakness. Dangerous men know the difference instinctively. Master restraint in every domain: anger, desire, response. Your mind is your battlefield. If you are controlled internally, no external circumstance can dominate you. Control over self is the foundation of control over the world. Strategic unpredictability means never revealing your full plan. Let others expose themselves while you stay calm. Quiet men provoke reflection, hesitation, doubt in others. Loud men provoke reaction, argument, and resistance. One leads to influence, the other to confrontation. Choose wisely. Physical presence matters. Your posture, gaze, and composure communicate more than words ever could. Stand with purpose. Move with intent. Your energy sets the tone. People respond subconsciously before they even consciously register it. That is danger manifested. Dangerous men cultivate patience. They delay gratification, ignore provocation, and control impulses. They observe patterns, gather intelligence, and strike when conditions favor them, not when emotions demand it. Timing is a weapon louder than any shout. Remember this: loudness is temporary, danger is enduring. Anyone can yell. Few can wait, plan, and execute with precision. Master the quiet. Become deliberate. Make your presence felt without announcing it. That is true power. That is influence. That is fear. That is control. You want to be dangerous, not loud. Stop proving, start observing. Stop reacting, start commanding. Let silence speak, let restraint decide, let timing win. When others underestimate you, your advantage is absolute. This is the art of subtle domination. Mastery is not motivation. It is command. You cannot control the world without first controlling yourself. Every thought, every impulse, every action is a test of authority. You win by discipline, by silence, by patience, by relentless consistency. Power follows those who act deliberately, not loudly. Self-respect builds reputation. Temptation strengthens resolve when resisted. Identity shapes behavior. Isolation sharpens focus. Control your mind, your habits, your presence, and the world adjusts. No shortcuts, no excuses, no mercy. The man who masters himself becomes untouchable. Start today. Take command. Be relentless. The only limit is the one you accept.